Sit down, cozy up, grab your favorite comfort drink.
Because you're now listening to the Sippin' Pretty podcast. Look at our drinks.
We got, well, it's new to me, not new to
me.
You.
Yeah.
You've tried it. I've been wanting to try it, but we had to like plan our hours accordingly when they were going to be open.
Yeah.
So we got Honeybee Coffee today. It's a little coffee trailer that sets up in a parking lot in our area. And yeah, so like a little small business vibe, but their
it's really good. It's really good, and I think it's a really good price.
Yeah.
Too. This is a 24 ounce. Yeah. And how much did we pay for both? $16? $16 for two, which I think is good, especially for a small business, because the cups are reusable. You can wash it and reuse it. It's in the name. But yeah, my sister, we have two at home, and my sister even washes the little like lids.
They're so cute.
Yeah. Quick disclaimer, we are stay-at-home moms, and our husbands work full-time. They're blue-collar men, so we do have our children with us. So we'll do our best to edit the background noise in the video, but if you do hear children screaming and running around, we're moms, mom life, okay?
I'm a mother. Mamacita.
Today, we're talking about
our hot takes. So if you already thought you didn't like us from the previous episode we did talking about reasons why you wouldn't like us, maybe this is just icing on the cake.
This is going to be your last straw, babe. The cherry on top.
No, but it's not necessarily like... It doesn't need to be negative, necessarily. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it can just be...
You might agree.
Our opinions.
You might be shocked and be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think about that sooner?
Right? Okay. Let's start with the one that we, synced brains on. Because we were talking about, we were doing our little... What do you call it? We were doing our little debrief.
Yeah.
That's what it's called. And talking about the lists that we had made or whatever, right? And this one was one that Caro and I both thought of independently. And then we were like, whoa, yeah.
Yeah. We're like, wait, I have the same
idea. So I guess it's in the season of summer and Love Island and reality TV shows, dating, whatever. And our hot take is that every single person that goes on a reality TV dating show is initially in it for the clout.
Yeah. For
the exposure that they're going to get. We truly don't believe that you apply to be on these shows with your first thought being, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall in love and get married and have babies and find my person.
In an island.
Yeah.
Where I'm surrounded by a bunch of horny ass people,
right?
And we're all kissing each other. I feel like initially people are going for the fun.
Yes.
Not really I'm gonna come out with the love of my life. It's more like an experience, you know?
And the whole reason that this thought came to me, I don't know about for you, but the whole reason it came to the forefront of my mind for me was because Billy and I had just finished watching Netflix's The Perfect Match. And on The Perfect Match, the whole cast, aside from one oddball who was just picked up off the streets, they've all been on different reality TV shows, dating shows, reality TV dating shows. And so I'm like, this is exactly feeding into that narrative. How are you not supposed to think that all these people just come on here for clout and aren't really serious about it?
Yeah.
When you're picking all these other people off of other dating shows.
Because you get paid. Right. I don't know if you knew that, but if you go on a reality TV show like Love is Blind or Perfect Match or Love Island, you do get paid. I think it's maybe $15,000 or $20,000 that you get paid to be in the show. And there's this guy I can't stand, Chase Moore, and that's the same. He's been in so many fucking things that when he's in a dating show, I'm like, dude, you're just here for the
what
fucking
are you here
clout.
For? Yeah, you're literally
not here to
money.
date.
Yeah.
Because he's been in so many. And he started on Too Hot to Handle. Then he went, I think, to The Perfect Match. Then he's been on The Perfect Match again. He's been in this other Netflix, I think it's called Boot Camp or something.
All
Netflix.
These little spin-offs where he's just added into the cast too.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's because in a way, he is doing his job.
Yeah.
He's in it for the work, right? And when you're on these shows, they're entertaining. That's why people watch them. So the people that are there are doing their jobs of being entertaining and you know, providing the drama and like whatever, right? But all I'm saying is that it's not for the sole purpose of like falling in love, like they make it seem.
Yeah. And I guess we can't put the full blame on these, like, I guess, reality TV stars, because the producers do a whole lot of blame on that. Because, okay, you're trying to paint this as a, like, dating show. Bring real people. Why are you still bringing people who are already known to the world, influencers, reality TV stars, people who you know are just going to benefit off of this with more brand deals, and again, getting more exposure? You want to call it a reality dating TV show? Get real people who really want to date.
I said this when we were talking about it at first, and I feel like the one that gives the most like authentic vibes is Love is Blind.
Yeah.
Simply because I feel like those are the most like relatable, like ordinary people, so to say, in like each area. Because they go like all over, right? There's like how many seasons by now? Yeah. And because it's not based off of like these other shows, like Love Island, for example. Like the very first episode, they were talking about like one of the first like games or whatever, challenges, was what your favorite sex position was.
Or snogging.
Yeah, like it's literally, or kissing literally everybody that's in the villa.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Love is Blind because it takes away that like visual aspect, and it's like solely based off of like, connection through like conversations and stuff like that at first. And because we were saying too, like you get thrown into real life scenarios. It's not all like games and fun and like vacation vibes. Like, yes, they go on their vacation, but then they come back and they see each other's homes and they meet each other's families and like they see like the real world and things like that. And so I feel like that one like is able to pull a little bit more like authentic, so to say. But I mean, even after that, that's kind of like, think of that almost as like the entry level, because then after that, like Jimmy, for example, who was just on Perfect Match, he came from Love is Blind. So now he's like, he dipped his toes in the water and now he's getting like all these other opportunities elsewhere, which is good because like I said, they're doing their job, but you can't try to convince me that you're there for love.
And I think it's also because you had a glow up, so they're like, let's give you another chance. Let's see if now you're more likable.
That was your practice run. This is for real now.
But yeah, not to say that that's everyone's intention, but for the most part,
and don't get me wrong, we love them. We love them just as much as the next person does. Like,
if I was young and not married and not with children, I would probably, you know, if I can apply, I'm gonna apply and like take you to Fiji for a free like trip, right? You know? Oh, this one, not everyone would agree. Oh, okay, because I've fallen victim of like trying to make my at-home coffees, but people, majority of the influencers who buy the Breville don't know how to use it, and their coffees probably taste like shit. You might not agree with me, but here's the thing. Look, maybe it's just me, okay? But I've tried making coffees at home, and like, yeah, by all means. But I feel like you don't need a Breville.
Yeah.
You know, you can use it with, you can do it with an espresso, you can do it with a Keurig.
You can do it with the instant coffee.
Well, yeah, just buy the cafe. Yeah, that's how I used to make them. Get my little ice, my little hot water, throw the Nescafe with the blue lid, and then, you know, do my little mixture. And they turn out like really good. I'm just saying that like half of the people who buy the Breville don't know what they're doing. And it takes a long time before they can actually measure their shots, the pressure, whatever, the flow of it, and make a good coffee at home, you know? So I feel like a lot of them are lying to you, and every single coffee they make, oh, it's so delicious.
Yeah, they're hyping it up.
It is so good. This is so delicious. But then it's like, but is it really? Or are you just like trying to convince yourself because you paid $1,000 for a freaking coffee machine?
I'm gonna go as far as saying that like, not just when it applies to like the Breville, but like also like anything that's like a bougie brand that could be better, like if you're not paying that price tag.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like everybody trying to hype up like everything that's like designer or like,
oh my gosh,
name brand or more expensive. Yeah.
Drugstore makeup can do just as a good job as high-end makeup.
And a lot of the times it's the same exact ingredients that's in like the drugstore makeup. You're just paying for the brand.
The popularity of it. Yeah. So
just because it's bougier doesn't mean it's better.
A lot of people who have the Breville, they have it because they can have it. That's it. Because I feel like literally it's like because you have the money, because you can buy it, you're gonna buy it, you know? It's not because they have a passion for coffee, which you don't have to. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just, it is so easy to be influenced into thinking that you need something for your coffee to taste good or be good. you don't need it.
Because you were that person. Remember how like you were telling me, you're like, oh my gosh, I want a Breville.
Yeah.
I want a Breville.
Yeah, and I'm very impulsive. I've said that many times. I'm very impulsive, where I thought like I can't have a cute coffee table setup because I don't have the high-end aesthetic Breville, which by the way, they're not even like aesthetic. They're huge fucking machines, and they don't even look cute unless you actually can set it up and make it look cute. But yeah, I thought that maybe my little coffee table wasn't worth it. It was just a joke because I just had a tiny little coffee maker. So I need a real thing for it to be considered a real coffee like station. No, you don't. Don't be influenced. Rationalize. I had to.
If you think about it too, you're just like making it harder on yourself. Like you said, unless you have like an actual like passion for like making the coffee and things like that. But if you are a person that's solely doing it for the purpose of like the aesthetic or the because I can afford it type of vibe, like you're adding more work onto yourself to make it like perfect, so to say. Let me explain. Like, because you said you have to get like the grind of the beans like perfect.
Yeah.
And then you have to like press the like shot into the little cup perfectly. And that looks easy, but I've seen videos of people like, no, that's actually like really like it's a process.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not as simple as just like.
And they'll be like, the flow isn't slow enough. I'm like, it's just flowing. Like, just let it flow.
So basically you're just like adding more work onto yourself. And if you don't actually have a passion for what you're doing or know what you're doing and you're just doing it just to like prove some kind of point or doing it just to do it or whatever, then those are the people that we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. It's $1,000 machine that you need to have so much knowledge for. Again, all the stuff that goes into it. You're buying syrups. You gotta get your cute little coffee mug, coffee cup, glass straws, because tell me not, like you're gonna want to do the whole aesthetic like shebang and whatnot, and it turns out being just more expensive.
Yeah,
you know, maybe I wouldn't even call it an investment, because an investment would be like, oh, I got it and I'm selling coffees out of this and I'm making my money back, you know, it's paying off. But if you're not gonna know how to use it, you're not gonna have time to learn how to use it.
You're gonna get it just to keep going to buy coffee somewhere else.
Exactly, and it's just sitting there. And again, most of the people who have this machine is because they can just buy it. They have the money to buy it. But if you don't, do not pressure yourself into buying that. A lot of the things that keep me from buying things, it's thinking of the fact that, let's say I want to go and buy myself a new bronzer that's $60. That's like 3 hours of my man working out in the hot sun or the cold. Like that doesn't seem fair, you know? So that's what stops me from impulsively buying some things where I'm
when you rationalize it that way.
Yeah, where I'm like, no, like that's maybe I'm fulfilling like an impulse or like a want, but then it's unfair to my partner, you know? So again, a lot of people who have $1,000 plus items in their house is because they just can't afford it and it doesn't weigh on them as much, you know, like that expense. Yeah, I'm not a hater. If I could have one, I would have it. If I could have the money, I'd fucking buy it. I'm just saying.
And I knew how to use it. This is another one that we kind of like agreed on to a certain extent. People will prey on your downfall and thrive off of your drama. Like there are genuinely people out there that like get a freaking kick out of your life.
Keep tabs on you to make sure you're not doing better than them. Yep. Or to see if you are doing better than them and then shit on you either way, no matter
That is a very real thing. And I feel like, I don't know, don't get me wrong. Like, I love being a chismosa just as anybody else does. But it's not to the point where, like, what somebody else is going through fulfills something in me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, how did I word this? Let's refer to our notes. So I just put, basically I'm just saying that it's like out of a place of like judgment, because something about their life, whether they will acknowledge it or not, is so like unfulfilled that they would rather, like it'd be easier to ignore their own issues and like fix whatever's going on in their own life. It'd be easier to just like project that, I don't know, feeling that makes them or whatever.
That void.
Yeah. And project it onto like judging somebody else's life or being like, oh my God, she, this, that, or the other, whatever.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And the truth is, I know it's so cliche to say like, oh, they're missing something, they're unhappy with their life, but it's true.
It's so real.
Because I hate, like, again, like I hate comparing myself to anybody else, but when I look at my life, it's not perfect. my fiance and I still struggle, but I'm happy. I'm genuinely so happy to the point where like I literally do not think of the person that I had a falling out like 2 years ago. I'm just focused on me, myself, and I. My biggest worry is if I can find the new sprites on Fortnite right now. If my children have clothes to wear for the summer, you know what I mean? So I think it's so funny when people try to like, I don't know, almost like hold themselves at a higher like standard than you and try to like walk all over you or tell you something that like to make themselves feel better. But then in reality, it's like, but if the roles were reversed, you would probably like, if you were me, you'd probably be cheating on you.
Right.
For the life that you live.
Yeah.
Because how like, and at that point it's like laughable.
Yeah.
Like you don't even entertain it because we genuinely are so happy with our lives that it's like, girl, who are you to talk? Like side-eyeing.
Like, the things that you're attacking me for are the things that I bet you wish you could do. Or the things that I bet you wish you had.
There are so many people who have shit on me for like, oh, wanna be influencer. Oh, like what are you doing with your life? Like wanna be influencer, you spend your whole day on your phone, where are your kids? And the whole time I'm filming my TikToks, my daughters are right there next to me on the bed, like watching me get ready.
And I'm getting sent PR and I'm getting,
exactly.
Not me, I'm talking like you.
Yeah, I recently did a PR haul and I'm like, dude, I have Sephora sending me PR. I had a brand sending me a $1,000 LED face mask. And I'm like, what was your point with that insult? Because like, I'm sure that you would love to get free shit.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you would love to be able to stay at home and be with your kids while also doing something you love and getting shit out of it. You know what I mean? And this is not to brag, but like you and I both, we have amazing husbands who love and respect us and treat us like fucking queens. Like it's just like at the point where like
emotionally and like in the sense of like, so to say financially, because like they go out and work. But it's not all like, oh, we just get whatever we want, we stay home, we like whatever. Maybe that's not important to note. But when you said like they treat us like queens, like
no, I mean genuinely, like I saw
in all aspects.
I saw a TikTok that said my husband lets me feel every emotion that I need, whether it's being mad at him, being petty, being a crash out. And yet he shows me so much grace and doesn't ever raise his voice at me. That's my why. And I right away thought of like Alex for me, you know? And that's what I mean. Like they let us be like just girls, you know, crash outs, whatever you want. And these are just examples of like, you can't shit on us and you can't make us feel bad about the life that we live. Because at the end of the day, you're only doing that to convince yourself that you're doing better than us. And you're trying to, again, fulfill every other fucking void that you're feeling in your fucking body. And trying to convince yourself that like, I don't know, we're fucking unhappy.
Well, like you said, like it's not bragging because we're also able to like recognize, and that's a big thing here. We're able to recognize the parts of our lives that maybe aren't glamorous, or the parts of our lives that like maybe the things that like we do struggle with and things like that. And that's the difference between us and the people that are doing the judgment. Because the people that are doing the judging in these situations that we're specifically talking about are those that lack the recognition part. The people that lack like looking in the mirror and looking at their own lives and like, I don't know, like recognizing, that's the best way I can like, or the best word I can come up with. Recognizing those things within themselves, and then they're going to turn around and judge people for the same things that like maybe they're struggling with, or maybe like petty things that aren't really like the little digs. When it's like, girl, you got way bigger fish to fry over on your side. Like, how about you worry about that first?
No, recognition is a huge thing because I've talked about, and I've been very open about like having to donate plasma sometimes, you know? And that's also something that someone tried to use as a dig at me, like, oh, you're a brokey. And I'm like, yeah, I've been broke. And do not laugh upon my struggles and what my husband and I have to go through, because you don't know why we were broke. You know, I mean, this was like right after Alex had not been able to go to work for like 3 fucking weeks because he was so sick. Because that could be you in like any day. That could be you tomorrow.
Oh, how the tables will turn. It may not be right away, but the tables will turn.
When you recognize things, nobody can hurt you with them. And it's like, Yeah, and what?
Oh, that's my favorite thing is when somebody tries to like use your like past against you or use
your
like
hard times.
your hard times
Yeah.
against you. We were those people.
I know.
We were
Yeah.
we were saying that, you know, like and like the healed versions of us are now just like
I think that's why we used it so much because we like didn't give a fuck.
we were those people.
Like we like I feel like we recognized that we're like, okay, bitch, and then what? But look at you, you know?
Yeah,
so we just keep
exactly.
going back and forth. Cause I feel like they didn't get us, you know, like each other's digs at each other. We're like, okay, bitch, well you did, you know, whatever. But
Yeah.
no, but I think recognition is a huge thing. And what helps is realizing that they don't recognize the life that they're living and how unhappy they are with that. And I feel like that's enough for us to not even want to engage with them because I'm like, you know what? The life you live is already punishing enough. Okay,
Right.
so like, sorry, I'm sorry.
Just, like, I kind of like laugh about it and I'm just like, okay. Because you're like completely missing the point and you're just trying to like, I don't know.
Next.
But wait, we kind of just like spun out of control.
I know.
Because, oh, you recognize that?
Yeah.
No, because I said that people will prey on your downfall. And I guess that kind of goes into like the whole like always wanting something to judge and like always wanting to be like chismosa about something, like always looking at somebody else's life instead of looking at yours. But that specifically relates to you and I.
Yeah.
And the whole reason that it like came to the forefront of our mind because there have also been like situations where I feel like now because people are aware that you and I had like past drama.
Yeah.
Now that we get along, we are completely roped in with each other. Like we're basically like one person when it comes to some, like the way that some people like think. Like there basically can't be Gato without me and there can't be me without Gato. Like that's just the way that like people assume, I guess, things work. So like whenever like somebody's hating on you, they're like automatically hating on me. And then when someone's hating on me, they're automatically hating on you. And like it could be a situation that is like so separate too. And I just get like roped in.
You're gonna be like these, like, I feel like we're the epitome of like bitches are delusional because we're master numbers.
Master numbers?
Our life numbers.
Yeah.
And we're both 11s, right?
Yes.
And it says on our stars and our chart that master numbers usually tend to attract a lot of fucking like hardships and obstacles and drama. And we're just made for it. Like we're strong and we can overcome anything and it makes us better fucking people. So you know what?
That is delusional.
I'm just kidding. Dude, no, there was a time when me and her were going back and forth in the messages. Dude, it says this, I'm an 11, you're an 11, and my numbers are this and that. But no, it was just...
We're just feeding into the...
Yeah, we're into our delusions of I'm right. Oh yeah, so... No,
because I don't even care about being right. I just care about like being able to have like a actual conversation instead of like...
Yeah.
It just being like...
No, I'll tell you right now.
digs.
I'll tell you fucking right now. Like, I have experienced so much drama. And like 90% of it, I'm not even the fucking cause of it. And somehow it ends up being my fucking fault. And so I'm used to it. Whatever. I don't care. Me being entitled and fucking self-centered and narcissistic as fuck. No, just kidding.
Thriving off of drama and trauma. No, but I feel like a lot more people, like a lot of people probably can relate to that where they feel like they're constantly like getting wrapped up into some shit. But the only difference is like
just
not everybody talks about it. Not everybody like...
Yeah.
You know?
Honestly, just smile through the pain and just make the best out of it. And literally, as long as you know you didn't do anything, find peace within that. But yeah.
So don't cancel me before I get completely through this, okay? I'm gonna give some context, all right? But my next hot take is weaponized therapy talk, okay? Now think about that before you like, kind of like, give me the side eye or whatever. So I'm talking about specifically people who weaponize, so use therapy talk to their advantage, knowing that it may not be like an accurate representation of what they're speaking about. Does that make sense? Okay, so basically, like what I'm referring to is like, okay, say like boundaries, for example, or keeping your peace. Boundaries is a very real thing. Boundaries is something that you like, I personally, when I was going to therapy, that's when I was like learned about them. That's when I learned that like that's a very real thing and this is how you go about setting them and whatever. And that kind of like plays into like keeping your peace, I guess. But because that is a very real thing, that takes work, that takes I don't know how you want to say it.
Actual inner like reflecting and stuff.
Right. Like it's not just a word that to like throw around, basically.
Yeah.
Because of that, if you are a person who is like running from accountability or running from a conversation that may need to be had, like a hard conversation or whatever, or you're just being like petty and like giving somebody the silent treatment or whatever, there's a difference between that and putting the word boundary on it or keeping my peace and weaponizing that very real thing. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hopefully I explained that okay.
I'll use you and I as an example, because when Desi and I were beefing, like throughout those 2 years, there were many times when we texted each other and it didn't take quite the way it was supposed to. You know, I was being petty, and Desi was always the one that would reach out, wanting to address things like, so what's this dig about, you know? And I kind of be like, well, if the shoe fits, Cinderella, whatever, you know, instead of saying like, yeah, you know what, it was for you and what, you know? So one, I wasn't taking accountability, but she was attempting to address it. And then we had another talk, and it kind of like, you know, there was like, oh, like maybe it took, maybe it didn't, you know? And then Desi ended up reaching out for the last time, which it actually did take, and invited me out for coffee. And one of the things I remember telling her was, when you sent me that message, I honestly like didn't know like yes or no, right? But I was like, okay, like we had a talk and I said that I didn't have any issue with him anymore. I have to be about it. So if I say no to her invite to get coffee, that's still being like off-putting. But if I say yes, then that's like me being about my word, you know? Now, Desi was being about her word because she actually reached out and said like, you know, like, let's go get coffee. Now, one of the things you said was, if I had said no, you were going to stop completely trying, right? Because again, you were being about like what you had said. You were trying to put action behind your words. That's when she can put a boundary. When she genuinely has tried to have the hard conversations, when she had genuinely tried to like put the best foot forward. Now, if I had still like been immature and petty, she's not going to want to deal with that. That's when she says, you know what? Let me draw the boundary. Now she can actually like genuinely like act out the definition of a boundary because you had put like all your effort in. Now for her to just say like, I'm putting up a boundary and never try to have a conversation, never try to talk, never nothing, that's just her completely avoiding even attempting to like move forward or doing the hard work.
Right.
That's when people say like, oh, I'm putting up a boundary. Like, are you really, or are you just avoiding the whole like accountability part of it?
Exactly. And that's what needs to come first before you can just like throw those words around. And that's what I'm saying. Another like specific like term or like word that I was thinking about was when people like do something and they're like, oh, sorry, like it's a trauma response. And like, don't get me wrong. Like there's been times when we will like jokingly say these things too. Okay. But I'm not talking about when you're joking about it, okay? I'm not talking about when you're like being lighthearted and like kiki haha with your fucking bestie, okay? I'm talking about weaponized trauma response. No, weaponized therapy talk. So when you are trying to like utilize these things to your benefit to like twist some shit and like hurt somebody else. Does that make sense?
Or like if you hurt someone, but you're saying it was a trauma response, so you avoid taking accountability for what you actually did.
I'm not talking about when you're jokingly like throwing the shit around or like whatever. Then I feel like we've all done it, right? I'm talking about when you're like trying to like use it to your advantage. That's what my hot take is, okay? Because there are genuinely things that are trauma responses. Again, just like there's genuine like reasons behind like certain boundaries and like there's a whole process to that. There's genuine trauma responses too. So like for you to be like, oh, sorry, like not even sorry because that would take accountability, but like, oh, I only did that because it's a trauma response, or that was only my reaction because that's a trauma response. Like, and the other thing that goes behind this too is I feel like the people that like say or do those things with whether it be like saying that you're keeping your peace, or whether it be like you trying to enable your behavior because it's a trauma response, or because it's you've been through some shit or whatever. We all have, okay? And it takes, again, I'm gonna throw that word out, recognition, and like working through your shit. And once you have like done the work, I feel like you are not one to like use that as like a crutch anymore. You know, like you're able to like recognize that maybe like it is a trauma response that you're doing this, but you're trying to like do better because of it. You're not the one that's going to throw that out there and be like, oh, but this is my trauma response.
One, it's also disrespectful to people who genuinely go through things and can't live a normal day-to-day life because they genuinely have trauma responses that they're dealing with. And I feel like when so many people are throwing around the word trauma response and this, people start losing like
it's
their
like
ability to believe people who are genuinely going through that, because now they're gonna be like, oh, everyone uses that fucking term, like how do I believe it's right, you know? Meanwhile, someone is genuinely going through that, but because so many people are using this like nothing and throwing it around, people stop actually taking the word for the value that it carries and the weight that it carries, you know?
That's literally where this like hot take of mine like came from, was a video that I saw. And it was a therapist talking about like how these are very real things that like she has to work with her clients through in therapy. And because social media is like such a prevalent thing in like everybody's lives, those words are just like thrown around like nothing nowadays. And that also goes into like my next hot take too, which is, are you ready to like?
Yes,
okay. That also plays into my next hot take too, which is diagnoses. Okay. So like, again, hear me out. Don't just come for me, right? Not everything is a diagnosis, or not everything needs a diagnosis. And I mean this in the same way that I said before, where it's like, just because you're like joking about like something or whatever, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you're genuinely like
telling somebody
that you like have something without like knowing, if that makes sense. So like maybe you have like one quote unquote symptom, like you freaking spiraled and you decided to like rage clean your house or something like that. That doesn't mean that you have like OCD. You know what I mean? Or like, just because you and your bestie are yapping it up and you're changing from topic to topic to topic to topic doesn't mean you actually have ADHD. Like there are people who are actually like medicated and go through life struggles, same thing with like the trauma response and stuff like that, and are like genuinely dealing with these things. So for you to have like one symptom of something doesn't mean that you need to like rush to the doctor's office and get diagnosed. So obviously if it's like a series of things, like I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking about the people that like, that's their first like go-to. Or like they're uninformed about it too, and then they're just like throwing the words around. And I actually have a good what's the word? Example of this. Maybe I'm rambling.
No, you're good.
I actually have like a really good example of this, and maybe it like kind of applies, maybe it doesn't, but I guess you'll get the point of like what I'm trying to say. So when me and my uncle were younger, I was like in my late teens, he was in his early 20s. We would like jokingly call each other, and I'm not going to say it, okay, I'm just going to spell it. But we would jokingly call each other SPAZ. Little did I know that the whole time we were doing that, that's a derogatory like term. And I had no freaking clue, because there are actually people who are spasmodic and have like a genuine, I don't know, what do you call it, like disorder, or like that's like a symptom of whatever else they have going on. And so that is like a really like, it's basically like saying like the R word, you know? Like, and I had no clue, and I was just throwing it, because I was so uninformed, and I was just throwing that word around like nothing. It's basically like that. That's what I'm saying, is when you're just like,
you know what I love? When people throw around the term OCD. They're like, I think I have OCD, because they're clean freaks, or they love to clean. Meanwhile, I feel like mental health is there's just such a wide range of like things, that it's not just a black and white, where you can say I have ADHD because I talk about every single topic, or I have OCD because I'm a clean freak, or I have depression because I was PMSing.
Like, you know what I mean? So much more.
There's so much more that goes into it. For example, I have anxiety-induced OCD, which mine is not like intense, but I do everything in threes. And my fiance, when he kisses me, it always has to be in threes. And mine is more like religion based because of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So when I bless myself, it's 3 times. When I pray, I say like our Father's prayer, our Lord's prayer 3 times. A lot of things are 3 times. When I was younger, I remember if I like brushed a car, I had to go back and brush it with the other side. But if I felt like I didn't brush it long enough, then I had to do it again. But then in my brain, I was like, wait, I did this longer than this one. So I had to do it again. And it was like me standing there for like minutes, just trying to
make it feel right in your brain.
Yes. And so people say like, oh, I have OCD because I clean so much. I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like a piece of it.
Yes.
Like that could be one symptom. That could be one thing that maybe but it's so much deeper than that.
There are people who legit will not leave their house if they haven't done a certain task 70 times, 100 times. To me, my number is 3. To other people, you don't know what it's like. There are times when they can't even like get out of their car because the clock isn't the exact time they think they need to get out of the car. Because if they get out of the car to go to the store at like 12:50, something bad is gonna happen. So they have to wait till like it's like their designated number for them to feel like it's correct, you know?
Like literally OCD, like your brain may go to when you hear that term, it may go to like the whole like cleaning aspect.
Which it can be, right? It can be.
But you know what OCD actually is? Like if you actually like do the research and think about it and like learn about it and whatever, obsessive compulsive disorder. It doesn't mean that it's like it could be any compulsion. It's any, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like to have that level of like understanding is what's important when we're talking about these things. I'm not talking about the people that are like jokingly like saying something with their friends or like, I don't know, whatever. I'm talking about the people that genuinely think that they have these things because they are showing a single symptom or maybe not showing a symptom at all and just are uninformed on what it actually is and just throwing it around.
And I feel like it also takes away from the actual struggles that people have had to go through up to the point to where they got diagnosed. There's so many people who, like, for example, on Threads will post, I finally got diagnosed today and I broke down.
Because they push it off for so long because they don't want to be those people that are like...
people don't believe them.
Right.
When I'm sorry guys, I'm using so many examples, but I really like I went through this. But when I was like younger, before I got diagnosed with like my anxiety and like everything else, I had, like, I'm an anxiety fucking like...
a ball of anxiety.
Like, how do you call it? Like,
you're a ball of anxiety.
A fucking anxiety, like, fucking mess. I used to have anxiety-induced tics, and I still do, and it's on my hands, and I've mentioned it before. Yeah. But before it was on my neck.
I'm all trying to do it.
And I used to, like, jerk my neck. And before my mom knew, like, that I actually had fucking, like, issues going on, she gave my cousin permission that every time I jerked my neck, he could slap me in the face. And he did. I would jerk my neck and he'd slap me. And I wouldn't even know that I was doing it till he like hit me and I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I'd be so out of it. And so it wasn't until like whatever happened. And my mom knew that I was dealing with all kinds of shit that she like, it felt validating.
She understood that like it wasn't just something that you were like,
shit, like, you know what, side-eyed, like, shit, like something's actually wrong with you, my bad. But again, some people say like this and that, and I'm like, saddening them a little bit because I'm like, maybe they don't speak about their struggles, but people who are, again, just throwing terms around, it's like, it's just like in a way disrespectful to people who have genuinely had to put in the work or have genuinely had to struggle on their own because people don't believe them. And it's because people throw around these terms that people start saying like, yeah, you're just one of them who's just saying you have something wrong with you, you know? Whole time, like, there are people who are genuinely struggling with real things that it's like, don't just throw it around
the value altogether. Yeah. In all the ways, like to get to the point of being actually being diagnosed, and when you actually are diagnosed and people are just, it's just the value altogether that like when you're just throwing it around without even actually knowing.
Yeah, it's a lot, but
basically those are our...
We could go on and on forever, guys.
Opinions.
Then this episode would be an hour long. But we should do a part 2.
We should, because I feel like I could come up with some more. At first it was kind of hard, but I think that's because I'm like... Not me being, this isn't me being a pick-me, okay? But this is me genuinely saying, like, I try not to, like, think too deep about, like, hating on things, if that makes sense. And I feel like hot takes are, like, low-key, like, it doesn't have to be negative. I think we said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it's, like, generally, like, negative opinions on things that are, like, popularized, right? Like, hot take, right? And so I just find it hard to, like, I don't know, not shit on something, but, like, find the negative in something.
Yeah.
Without making it, like, too deep, too.
We can aim to make the next one more lighthearted, but for now, don't cancel us. And yeah.
We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.